Kia ora. My name is Kimberly. I am 48 years old. I'm blessed with two beautiful children, my son Jesse and my daughter Starlee. This is my testimony of how I had found God, but lost him and then have truly found him again. I grew up in Titahi Bay in Wellington. I'm a middle child with two brothers. When I was 9, my father took my older brother and me to Forest Lakes Christian camp, and it was there that I first gave my life over to him, the Lord. Then when I was 12, my father was diagnosed with lung cancer, and he went into chemotherapy and radiotherapy straight away. 6 months later, on the 18th of July 1986, he passed away. I prayed to God, upset, angry, and very unforgiving of him. I gave up on my faith, and my life spiraled from there. I had become an addict at 15, 16 years old. I needed to be on alcohol, weed, pills, just to cope. I drifted away from myself, my family, anything that was good for me really, because I just didn't want to lose again someone close to me. I just lived in fear from when I lost my father. I got hapu for the first time with my son when I was 21. I was in a very volatile relationship with his father. He was a gang member. He would often rape me, beat me, keep me isolated. I found the power to escape that relationship when my son was born, using Women's Refuge. It was then that I rebonded back with my mother through my son's birth. So I was a solo mum with my mum's help, but I still had my addictions, and my mum wanted me to go to rehab, and I agreed. By the time my son started school, my mum had moved to America, and my using just got worse. I found ecstasy, LSD, cocaine, speed, and I ended up, by the next year, I hadn't been able to get myself into rehab, and my son Jesse was uplifted by SIPs. I lost him. He went into care for 2 weeks with them, and it was decided that the best place would be with my mother in the USA, so he went there, and my life fell apart. It was the worst time in my life. I started using methamphetamine. I moved into a gang headquarters, Highway 61 pad, and I started being a drug courier for heads of gangs, nightclub owners, and even crooked lawyers. I lost control of my life. I was in the darkest place I'd ever been, worse than when my dad died, losing my son. And I remember I drove to Red Rocks in Island Bay, Wellington one night, and I wanted to drive my car off the cliff. I just couldn't cope. Knowing what it was like to lose a parent, I couldn't do this to my son, so I overcome the desire to die at that time, and just carried on. Whilst I lost all contact with my son and my mother, I got happy with my daughter Starlee. I was 32. I tried to wean myself off meth, and I did a little bit, but not completely. I continued the struggle of being a solo mum, living day to day with my addictions, and the only thing I was really truly proud of was that my daughter was with me, she was clean, she was fed, and that she had a roof over her head. Otherwise I was full of shame. I hated myself. I didn't believe that finding help and sorting after addiction services would help her or I, because I was so fearful that the authorities would uplift her too. Fast forward to 2017, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people, and I ended up being charged with a very serious offence that could land me in jail for a long time. I actually went on the run whilst I was waiting for sentencing, as I knew that if I went to jail, who's going to look after my daughter? I had no family here, no one I trusted. So we lived in the car while I was trying to find somewhere for her to stay. I was reaching out to anyone that I knew, which was probably only drug people, but I was truly trying to find somewhere for her. I'd reached out to Carlene from our church. She was away. Sent me a message to get hold of somebody else, but I just ignored it, and I got pulled over one night and taken into prison for the first time in my life, 48 years old. I now believe that I was actually in the right time, the right place at the right time when I got charged, because it landed me in jail where for the first time, well, the second time, my motherhood had been taken away from me, but it was the first time I was away from my daughter. She'd been with me her whole life. She was 15. She'd gone to stay with a friend. I didn't know that. And I fell on my knees in the cell and I prayed to God, begged him. I begged for his mercy and said, Lord, I'm so sorry. I hated on you. I'm so sorry I left you. But if you please just get me released for my daughter, I promise. I'll clean up my life. I'll clean up my addictions. And I will follow you and have faith in you for the rest of my life. I reached out to Carleen for the second time in 6 years. And she was there once again for me with the Holy Spirit shining right through her. She was full of hope, help and forgiveness, and my prayers were answered. I was released from prison and I was only sentenced to 12 months home detention. I self-referred myself to Hamner Clinic for addiction therapy. They've diagnosed me with PTSD, extreme PTSD, depression, ADHD. I am 1,000% convinced that without God, without finding the love of Jesus that he gives to us all, that I wouldn't be here today. I'm drug-free. I'm 8 months and 5 days today, clean, for the first time in my entire adult life. I'm fear-free. My anxiety and PTSD is manageable. I'm full of love and excitement. I have hopes and dreams and goals. One being to travel with Starlee, to find my son and my family, for her to meet them. It's just, I'm living my best time ever. I'm looking forward to the future. I could never see past tomorrow, knowing I have the Holy Spirit right next to me, always comforting me and guiding me and loving me and showing me the path he wants me to take and how to share my blessed gifts he gives me to share and to help others. I am no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. With my baptism, I wanted to be baptised as soon as I realised I could. I did think that baptism was for someone who had found Christ and had studied enough. I thought I had to be more worthy, and I had help from my brothers and sisters about it being really just a symbol of loving Christ and accepting him in my life and following him and knowing that it's eternal. And I couldn't do it as soon as I wanted to, as the home detention bracelet I'm on can't be submerged in water. So this comes off today, and Sunday the 26th is the first day that we can baptise. So I'm doing it. And God bless you all.
Buy your cute anklet.
Where do you buy those toes from?
You're funny.
Don't go down that road, Brian. Yay! Bye.